So Meg Erber, I can't believe that in 4+ years of doing the So You're in Sales podcast, I haven't figured out a way to get you on my show. This is absurd. Like, I was looking back through the archives to try to figure out like when someone's been on the show previously, I'll reference that episode. And I was like, oh no, how is this even possible? So thank you. Thank you for having the opportunity to join me on So You're in Sales podcast. This is kind of like a weird mashup of all of my worlds coming together all at the same time in the form of a podcast episode, because while this is about selling, it's also about using a very specific strategy to drive engagement in the communities of people that you want to try to be involved in. And you and I and the rest of the lovely big-hearted folks at Promo Cares have put our hearts and souls and time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into this new thing that I have a t-shirt for, and wanted to bring you on, Meg, to talk about the program, talk about what it is, give the people out there in listener land an opportunity to understand what it is that we crazy kids have just decided to try to do. And then more importantly, take a look at kind of the mechanics behind if someone out there listening is motivated to try to do something similar, and make this be a way not only for people to participate, but also to learn, right? So I'm wearing the t-shirt, but the floor is yours. Talk about for good and what it is that we're up to.
Well, thank you, Roger. And I think it comes from different forms of inspiration. Honestly, you know, I have a podcast and I had you on, and I was so inspired by everything that you were doing that I was like, please let me on the board. I don't know what I can offer, but I have something because I care, you know? So put me in, coach. It's my time. So I think it was like my first or second board meeting, and I said, I have this idea. I've been inspired. And the idea was to put together this event of some type of give back component. And I pitched the idea to the board, and they were like, that's great. When is this idea? And I'm like, it's like Veterans Day, like in a month. And then everyone was like, oh, that's a lot of work to do in a month. And I agreed. And then collaboratively, we all came together and we thought, you know what, let's gear this towards mental health, you know? And then it just snowballed into this really big event that we are putting on in November. We had a really long runway, which I didn't realize the extent that we would need until we started going into this event. I've never put anything like this together on. So as I would do one thing, I'd be like, oh my God, there was 5 more things that needed to be done to be able to execute this the way my vision, which was crazy, was. So board members and I, we got together, we put our thinking caps on, and we put together a strategy where we handpicked about 40 to 50 of our friends, CEOs, decision makers at companies, and we put them in a place to champion on our behalf. So before I get too far ahead of myself, we'll talk about the event itself. The event itself is Sleep In for Good, and it's sleeping in. Which way are you? Sleeping in for a good cause. And we're doing it on the day that the clock changes back. And I can't remember, every year for 40 years, whatever, for as long as I can remember, that was always like, we lose an hour of sleep, man. We have to go to school the next day and we lose an hour. We're already exhausted. So it couldn't happen on a better day, right? So we offer 6 different donation levels, and depending on how much you donate allows for the time to be slept in. And we write you a hall pass, which, let's put it out there, needs to be approved by your employer ahead of time. We don't want anyone getting fired. We don't want any lawsuits. Like, this is all for a good cause. We're trying to have a little bit of fun. So that's it. And all the proceeds are going to NAMI, which we were just really excited about. We did choose a local chapter to North Carolina just because of the relationship that Danny had with one of the directors. Just, I don't know how they know each other, but just whatever, it was perfect. And she has been great. Annie, everyone's going to get to meet her at some point during this journey. Awesome. So we partnered with them. We thought it would be just more beneficial to be able to give back something that we think is large, but on a national level, it might be lemonade stand money. So we're working with NAMI. And okay, so back to the champions. So we picked a handful of champions. We put together, Mandy and I worked on this merch kit. And we put together something that's going out this week, or maybe last week, whenever this airs, and a social media toolkit. Okay, so we emailed this social media toolkit to our champions, and it gives step-by-step instructions. We put out a calendar, we gave them hashtags, we gave them people to tag. We wanted to basically give them all the tools they needed and a calendar. So over the course of the next 7 weeks, they can put out one piece per week with a catchphrase or whatever. We want to see what our champions will do with that. Let them become their own marketers with the tools that we've provided and the items, the promo items that we've branded with our logo and our slogan.
Hey, that's a new word you just made.
Our Logan.
Logan and logo is Logan. I like it. This is awesome.
I'm a mixer of words, I'll tell you. So yeah, that's the general gist of it.
Right. So I'm listening. I'm a business owner. I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So the idea of the possibility of creating an opportunity by virtue of showing your giving heart, then married to a fundraiser of your own creation, or by jumping in on a fundraiser that someone else, like what we've done, provides you a unique opportunity to hop on the train and say, I care about mental illness. I too would like the idea of being able to generate funds for combating all of the stigma and everything that goes along with what we're talking about. Gives you an opportunity, Mr. or Mrs. Listener, to think about the ways that from your own business perspective, if there are things that you are really passionate about, what Meg and I are saying is you should be thinking about ways to try to tie your brand and what you do for a living to the causes that you care about, because businesses and consumers out there oftentimes are looking to understand what it is that your business is about from a values perspective to make a buying decision. And so if you can use strategies like these for yourself, or partner with someone that can help you develop something along these lines, and then take the items that you can get from a promotional products distributor like Roger Burnett at Social Good Promotions, you can build a campaign around what it is that you want the people who you want to participate with you in this fundraiser to do. This is the big difference, right, Meg? So lots of times in the life, we launch a campaign, be it a personal campaign, a GoFundMe account, a Kickstarter, a whatever. And we never do any work in advance to go ask people that we think would care to help us if they would be willing to do it.
Yeah.
Where for us, what I thought really was not only important for us to want to talk about with respect to the fundraiser, but with respect to, like, for people who want to consider something similar to this, is you need so much advanced time. And in reality, it's hard for anyone who gets excited about something to say, well, I'm going to wait a year.
I know. It's
right?
So
That's the hardest part of it. And yet, to your point, in our monthly meetings, we came to the recognition that, man, what a smart idea this was. Wait a whole year, because it gave us the opportunity to think about who our influencers would be, to think about what would the best use of social media today be, develop a game plan and a playbook, which really is the difference here, where most of the time when we try to, even if you go so far to get people to try to help you, if you don't tell them what to do, you're kind of leaving that up to them. And most of the time,
yeah,
what you get in return is not nearly as good as it would be if you just, like, we're not telling people exactly what to do.
Right.
We're giving them a framework by which to follow and then make their creative juices flow around that little prompt that we get given people, right? And
exactly. And that's the whole point of what we're doing too. It's like, if you look, and when I talk about inspiration, I was never a fan of TikTok prior to this year, and I do it just because I'm an amateur hour with video editing, but it opened my eyes to marketing. And I actually had Jill Albers on my podcast a while ago to talk about how to use social media influencers to push your brand and to get your message across. And she works with Dunkin' Donuts, and I know they had hired Charlie D'Amelio, who is a big TikTok star, and she had 5 million views on one like 30-second clip of her dance and wearing some, and it just was eye-opening. It's really eye-opening. And you're using limited edition merch to create a FOMO, to create this need to be a part of. And if it's aligning with what you already have, your morals and your values and your moral compass, and it's a win-win. And that's what we're trying to pull the strings of. We want people to see that we're creating this buzz around this, especially after being in a pandemic for over the past year. Mental health has been the one thing that's been affected. Teen suicide, just suicide in general. We're trying to raise awareness, and I feel like the more people that talk about it, the less of the stigma it is. We very early on in this this fundraising journey, I started receiving messages from some of the donors, and they're like, "Thank you for doing this," and I'm like, "No, thank you for being part of it." And oh, my daughter or someone in my family or X, Y, or Z deals with mental illness, so it really hits home. So for them to talk about that, they weren't talking about this yesterday. So that's one more person that's talking about it. They say 1 in 3 people deals with mental illness. I have like 9 people in my family. So that means that 3 of us have a mental illness by statistics, right? Sure. So if I wasn't one of those people, but now I'm talking about it, maybe now it's more like 2 out of 3, or maybe everybody deals with it or on some level. So I feel like by talking about it more, we're reducing the stigma. Because you might look at myself or you and think that we're mildly normal. I mean, but like, but if they're dealing with some sort of, and mental illness doesn't mean that you're like in a closet, like shaking back and forth. It's depression, it's anxiety. It's just, there's so many different levels. It's a huge spectrum. But by talking about it, I don't want to say normalizes it, but it makes people more aware that everybody's going through something. Like, be kind, be kind. And then donate to our cause while you're at it.
Like, again, from the pure mechanics of what we've done, it's important for us to, okay, so so yes, we've identified an area that we believe requires more attention. Definitely. Okay. So that's not to say if you're passionate about something that is being very well represented that you should just, I don't have to do anything because there's already a bunch of other fundraisers going on for that. You have the opportunity to participate at whatever level your own passion is for that project. And this is why this part of this is key. So on the actual fundraising side of things, so setting the awareness side aside for a second, we've structured it so that everyone can afford it. Mm-hmm. We've structured it so that there is, the more you care about this, the more you can contribute. And there's also, for those of you who just are like, I have to be a part of this, there's a way for you to get something that you then get in return that you have as a commemorative to be able to, 1, remember your participation in the event, and 2, outwardly display that this is something that you're passionate about in the form of branded products, which, hello, promotional products, this is what we're really, really good at doing, is being able to allow folks the opportunity to outwardly communicate their passions. And if what we said is the awareness is the important part, if you are wearing things that show that you care about mental illness, you're giving yourself the opportunity to have other people feel like, hey, I could talk to that person about something that's going on in my life because they're showing themselves to be open to that kind of conversation. So like, people, this is the way to build campaigns that can work to your benefit. So Meg, talk about the different dollar and what they equate to, and then what happens at the FOMO end of the spectrum.
I love that you asked me that. So I actually had that page up and ready to go because I was going to talk about it anyway. But you hit the nail on the head. We've made it very affordable, and we wanted to kind of give different levels like we discussed, and also show what those donations go to. Like, how does your monetary donation help? So we set the 6 donation levels, right? The first one, $9, because we thought, you hit your snooze button for 9 minutes. So $9 actually pays for 3 calls to the NAMI helpline, which covers resources, referrals, and an empathetic listening ear. The second donation level is $16 for 16 minutes, which shows one of our nanny volunteers that they hope to bring, the hope that they bring to the community is valued and appreciated. In my head, I feel like that's probably some type of promotional product, like hey, you guys, this is a volunteer, here's your coffee mug type thing, which I feel like it's just in my own head. That's what that's for. But, that's how we show appreciation. Here's your mug. Yeah. $28 is the third donation level for 28 minutes. And it helps to educate one person to better understand that their loved one's illness or their own. Then you have the $46 for 46 minutes, which helps 3 people to learn better coping skills through one of their self-care programs. $77 for 77 minutes, and that covers the cost for one support group to meet. And lastly, the $99 for 99 minutes, that funds an Ending the Silence presentation intended to educate middle and high school aged youth about how to prevent suicide. Now, with that being said, we didn't want to limit it to $99. So we also have an other button. So you can donate anything. You can do monthly, you can do one time, and anyone who donates more than $100 or more will receive the limited edition Sleepin' for Good swag kit, but it's only available to the first 100 donors only.
And maybe some of those have already been sold.
Oh, yes. Like the first couple of days, we had already sold a bunch of them. So that's really, really exciting and just heartwarming.
Get them while they're hot, ladies and gentlemen. And then, of course, I'm sure you can imagine what's going to happen when you start seeing Instagram accounts populated with people with their merch kits that they got and all of the different ways that they're going to be creative about wearing the products that they've been able to get as a result of the program. It's everything that you would want in a viral opportunity when it comes to social media. We'll see what happens when it comes to what we anticipate to be the rampant creativity based on what we've seen on some other campaigns amongst our peers in the marketplace. I can't wait to see what some of this stuff might turn into, because hijinks and hilarity are sure to come along. And what better way to combat somebody who's having a bummer of a day than to bring a smile to their face, which makes all of these things like it's like a vortex of good. This is my favorite term, like vortex. All right. So for the cynic out there, Meg, who says, oh, nice, just fill in the landfills with more swag that nobody's going to hold on to, right? Like, how did we approach the way that we sourced and put our product kits together in a way that was meant to be less harmful to the environment?
What a great question. I'm really glad that you asked it, because I don't know if we had a chance to drive that in that 9-page social media toolkit. But the products that we chose were suppliers that we partner with that are Promo Cares suppliers. They all have some type of give back component, whether it's just giving back to help in the industry. They have some type of CSR, sustainability, something going on that makes them want to be a do-gooder. They are part of the do-good mentality that this industry is just adapting and embracing. So the first thing, the box, which is probably one of the things that you would think would really fill up the landfill. The box that we used for the kit is from Chameleon Lake, and it's made from fully sustainable materials. And then you think, well, what about the ink? That's not sustainable. Oh, but it is, because we use an algae-based ink. So the box is fully sustainable. We used the t-shirts were from Bella Canvas. They have a whole sustainability story. Oh, here come the dogs. We use the notebooks were from Danique. They have a whole give back component. Just a Gold Star. I mean, Snugs. All of our sponsors have something going on, and we're going to highlight them each week and talk about what they're doing. So stay tuned. Follow our social media pages. Follow the hashtags. This is really going to blow up, and we're really excited about it.
And for those of you who don't sell promotional items, but you buy them, and if you at all have any kind of upset stomach about the idea of you putting your logo on items is somehow going to make landfills more full of stuff, we're trying to show you that you can actually, there is a way in life today, not in the future, not at some unknown date that we can't even come up with. You can literally design and implement an entire campaign using products that we can arm you with that can make you feel like, hey, I tried, right? And me, the beautiful part about the time that I've been involved in the Promo Cares movement is this is a lot easier to do than it was 3 years ago.
Yes.
The fact that when we went to go make our choices, it wasn't as if, oh, these are the things we have to put in there because that's all there is. That was not the case, right, Meg? There was a lot of choices.
Right.
And
I
that's
think
it's so cool.
it is really cool. And I think what we're doing is people are like, what's your ROI? It's not. We're not basing, we're not throwing a sponsored logo on the back of our t-shirt because the sponsor is trying to make a sale off of it. That's not our intention. And that's not the suppliers that partnered with us, their intention either. Our thought process is to say thank you. These people aligned with us. This is our mission, and we want to provide a return on the emotion. People are going to see this t-shirt and be like, wow, that was like a really cool event. That was a really cool fundraiser, and I was part of it. And that's the key, the emotion that's going to be driven from this campaign. And we're so excited. And all of our partners, all of the suppliers, all of our donors, everybody has been nothing but positive and supportive. And yeah, I mean, this is just, we're writing another page in marketing, in a marketing book. That's it.
Responsibly sourced products, a campaign with a heart, people recruited to help us with the efforts prior to the launch of the program, and ample runway for us to have a chance to really get momentum behind this event, which happens the first week of November.
Mm-hmm.
And while we are not necessarily dollars and cents driven, we do have a goal, Meg. So how much money are we trying to raise?
Our goal is to hit $10,000. And obviously we would love to exceed that, but that is our goal. And this is our first annual event.
Yep. And certainly we're putting out the challenge to all of our brothers and sisters in promotional products land. But if you are not in the promotional products industry, but you're still interested in participating in Sleep In for Good, there's ample opportunity for you to work with either your consultant that you're already working with in your local market to build something like this for yourself. If you want to reach out to us for help on how to do this for yourself, just let us know, because the idea is this is not a one and done kind of thing. We have every expectation that we're going to do this annually from this point going forward. And we fully intend to document this entire process so that if anyone out there in the future wants to figure out how to replicate this for themselves, we are going to give you the playbook, brothers and sisters, and make it so that all you have to really do is consider what cause is important to you and where might you put your efforts to help identify an underserved need. Meg, thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm you and I are both giddy right now with where we're at, because we've gotten it launched. The response has been fantastic. And I cannot thank you and Mandy Rudd enough for the effort that the two of you personally put in to make this thing come to life. It's been a joy for me to watch. The rest of the board is just blown away with what's going on. And we're really, really excited to see if we can get to that 10,000 number. So let's make it happen.
Let's do it. Let's go.
All right. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's another edition of the So You're in Sales podcast. This is Roger signing off. Until next time.